All right, thought I'd give you an update on the Schatz 1000 day clock that I recently picked up off of Craigslist. Um, this is the one, if you saw in the previous video, I have the wooden crate that actually shows this was shipped to Racine, Wisconsin. There's a shipping label on the crate that says July 1955. And obviously I have the cardboard packaging that went in the crate, including the little dome that made the glass dome survive. Apparently, there's a plastic dome version, but I'm lucky enough to have the glass dome version. And so, what have I done? If you saw the original, the base was tarnished. It wasn't, the glass dome is on it when it's in the packaging, so you can see the internals are pretty much, untouched and original. And I left those alone, but the outside, the exposed outside, was quite tarnished. So what I did is I took Brasso to it first, kind of loosened up what everything I could as far as loose stuff, loose dirt, and then I took steel wool to it and a little bit of sandpaper in the very tarnished areas just to kind of take it down a little more aggressively, and then I covered it up or went over it with the steel wool. And then I used a product called Cerakote, which is for automotive trim, and it's a ceramic coating, comes on a pad. I didn't want to get out spray paint and masks things off and all that kind of stuff and try to or gum things up, right? So with the Cerakote on a pad, I just basically wiped it down, and it's a ceramic coating that they say lasts a long time outside in the weather. Inside I think it'll last a very long time. And worst case, if I need to do it again, I can get out the steel wool again and clean it up. So the other thing I did is I went through and I oiled the whole mechanism. It didn't need to be ultrasonically cleaned. Obviously, on a lot of old clocks, mantle clocks or whatever, you need to ultrasonically clean and take the mechanism out so that you can clean it like that. This didn't need it because basically, this thing hasn't been out and used and set up for I don't know if it ever was. So I just give it a good oiling with my clock oil. And the other thing that I'm doing right now is basically just trying to set the timing so that it keeps accurate time. And so that's why I've done this. It's interesting on a pendulum clock like this with a spinning pendulum. The way that you make it run faster and slower isn't like a stick with a bob on it. You raise the bob up and that shortens the swing a little bit. You raise it down or move it down and make it run a little slower. On this, there's an adjustment on there that makes the diameter of that circle expand a little bit or contract a little bit. So it brings the balls in, which is faster, I would guess, or farther out, which makes it run a little bit slower, just enough to affect, how fast the seconds tick off, right? The minutes tick off. So if you look, let me show you a little bit about the mechanism here. There's a little fork there near the top, and that just twists the twist in the suspension leader. I don't want to call it a spring, a suspension leader. It just twists back and forth. And if you look a little farther down, let me see if I can get it a little. You'll see it tick. Ticks to the left, and then it swings back, and it ticks to the right. And it takes, I don't know, 4 times between every minute, back and forth. And you can see there are some of the adjustment wheels for changing the diameter of the pendulum there, the spinning pendulum. And it came fully wound. I don't know whether it was wound like that in the factory or if someone did take it out and tried to wind it and it didn't run because they didn't know how to. There's a lever in the back here that basically jams the pendulum for shipping. And of course that was in the shipping position, which I was glad to see. But people don't know, and there was no manual with this. The only thing that's missing with this whole thing, with the crate and the packaging and everything else, there was an envelope, supposedly an envelope that had a manual in it, a small manual, because it was a small envelope. It had an extra suspension leader, which would be nice to have, but you can still get them if you know where to look. And it had the key And so this clock had no key, and obviously it's fully wound, so I don't have to wait. I don't have to worry because it's a 1,000-day clock, which, if you do the math, it's like 2 3/4 years on one wind. So I won't need a winder for quite a long time. But I found it on Mercari for $13. It looks to be the correct key, which is nice to have the original key that goes with this. So that'll be here. I'll have that, as far as, what the clock needs to be used and to keep running. That'll be a nice piece to have. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to be able to find, I think I found a place where I can put this and display it. I think it really it has a story, obviously, and it should be out and displayed and running. The German engineering that figured out how to make a clock run for 2 3/4 of a year on one wind is just amazing. So glad to have this. It looks like it will, with a few minor adjustments here, it will be ready for placement and enjoyment. But thought I'd give you an update. Thanks for watching.